How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek, for those of you who don't know, and today we're going to be opening up the entire Wave 1 of 1995's Kenner Man of Steel Superman action figure collection. Superman, Superboy, Steel, Conduit, and Laser Superman. Every single one of them is coming out of the package. Oh yeah, and we also have that there Toyfare Exclusive Mail-Away Eradicator figure. Yes! Wanted this one for a long time. Finally got it. The red, yellow, and blue Superman themed packaging for these guys was so simple but also very effective, and that great big red S up the top is really all you needed to catch a kid's eye from any point in the toy aisle. As for the back of the packaging, it was pretty much the same for every single action figure in Wave 1. You could see all of the other action figures from Wave 1 as well as Superboy's VTOL cycle and both of the 2-packs. Full Assault Superman vs. Massacre and Hunter Prey Superman vs. Doomsday. And there also was just a little bit of a bio write-up on the top of the card as well. Join forces with the most powerful being of all time, the legendary Man of Steel. Superman and his team of superpowered allies are mankind's ultimate weapon against the most fearsome, unstoppable villains in the galaxy. These were truly a cool bunch of figures, and it's just amazing that they're still all in the package and in such good condition after all this time. Now let's yank them out. And here they all are, out of the package. Wow, I really made a mess again. Okay, hold on a second. Why don't you watch this Superman Man of Steel toy commercial while I clean all this up? Yeah, let's do that.
To stop the evil Doomsday, you need a hero who's more than a man. Superman. He's been called the greatest, the strongest, the first among heroes. Superman. High-voltage villain Conduit is powered by kryptonite, but with krypton cannon blasting, Laser Superman powers him down. Conduit will learn, don't mess with the S. Superman. It's the dreaded Doomsday, the most fearsome force in the universe. Even Doomsday will learn, you don't mess with the S. Superman figures each sold separately, blocks not included.
Okay, and we're back, and here they all are out of the packaging, all stood up and posed without the trash behind them. Conduit, Superboy, Superman, Steel, and Laser Superman. That was the entire first wave of basic figures. Remember, we also have the Eradicator here, but I'm not going to open him until after I reviewed all these guys. Starting with Superman. So here's Big Blue, first off, all by his lonesome. He came with an accessory that was a bendy chain, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's attached to him a little bit later in the video. And Superman, just like the rest of them, also came with a Skybox trading card. And these were pretty fantastic looking as well. I like the artwork on these guys. There's a write-up on the back of these. I'll let you read that yourself. I'm not going to read that for you. Let's just take one nice close-up swipe at the trading card so you can get a chance to see it. Yeah, okay. Now let's look at the figure. So let's start at Superman's toes and go all the way up to his head so you can get a close look at this figure before I grab a hold of him and start fiddling with him. You can see it's the basic red, blue, and yellow primary color palette that they've used here, which is entirely accurate to Superman and also to his appearance of the day. I think from back then right up until the present, this still remains one of the best Superman action figures in this particular scale. Superman's S on his chest seems painted tidy enough. There's not a lot of paint slop anywhere. And for a mass-produced figure, he just, all around, looks like they did a pretty good job during the production of him. Superman's cape just pops right off. It attaches with these little holes in his back and these little pegs on the cape right there. And the cape actually has the S molded onto the back of it rather than just being painted on. Superman's face sculpt also looks contemporary to the comics back in the day, and much like the rest of the figure, the paint is actually pretty neat. There's not a lot of paint slop anywhere to speak of. Also, you might have noticed that there is some wibbly wobbly articulation forward and backwards in his neck, and that really wasn't to do with articulation and a whole lot more to do with his power action feature. When you pushed his fists up, his head went up, and it was supposed to put his face into like a flight pose, like looking forward, and that was his power action feature. Flight. Whoosh. As a side note, I know I'm not alone in the idea that it would have been kind of cool to get a Superman figure in this line that had independent arm action that wasn't tied to the power action movement. That would have been kind of fun, as well as having a Superman figure with a basic neck peg rather than this whole thing, but hey, it was 1996, and that's what we got. Here's a closer look at that there chain accessory. It was made out of a soft rubber, and it's just got the clips here that attach to his wrists with little Superman symbols on them. It was just meant to go around Superman's wrists like that, so that when he took off into a flight pose, he'd have this here chain attached to him. And next up we have Superboy. He comes with the Skybox card as well. Here's the artwork on that Skybox card. Pretty fantastic. Here's the write-up on the back. Feel free to pause it and read that if you'd like to. He also came with these here 2 Capture Claw taser missiles that were spring-loaded and just fit over his fists, which I'll show you in just a second, but here's what they look like, and they're both actually a little bit different. And you'll note that they actually say LexCorp on them, which is an interesting touch. Which makes sense, because in the first place, Superboy was created to be Lex Luthor's biatch! Lex, you tell me, how'd that work out for you? Looking at Connell, toe to head, you can see that they got the details pretty much right and accurate for the comic books that he jumped out of the pages of. Black boots, red pants, red gloves, leather jacket, the little belts around his waist, the Superman S poking out of his jacket there. If I could pick one DC character that just looked so 90s, this would be the one. I think out of all of the figures from this wave, this is definitely my favorite, the Connell Superboy. The patch on his jacket there, the little sew lines. Connell's face sculpt looks pretty accurate as well to the comic books. It would have been kind of fun to get some shades on there, but you know what? I'll take him without shades just the same, because this overall looks like a pretty fantastic figure. As for Superboy's taser claw accessory, how you used it was simple. You just lift his arm up. You had to use the right arm because you can see there's a little clippy thing right there, a little plastic bit sticking out, and you just popped it on there like that. You can see it there being held in place by the clip, and then when you wanted to fire it, you just turned it and that's what it did. That's how you fired it. And next up is Steel John Henry Irons. Here's what his trading card looks like. Again, fantastic artwork, and the write-up on the back, which if you'd like to, you can pause to read it. You know the drill. And of course, we got the action figure itself. Let's do a slow toe to head so that you can have a little peekaroo at it before I begin to fiddle with it like the rest of them. Very cool choice of using 2 different tones of silver, one being a very silvery silver and the other one being kind of a bluish silver. And as far as I'm concerned, he looks every bit like John Bogdanov's artwork. And honestly, I feel like they nailed it with the riveted S on his chest. I think that it looks very much like his first appearance. John Henry's cape is made out of a nice, soft, pliable rubber, and it attaches to his back with these little tiny pegs that fit in these little tiny holes like that. The S on his cape is painted on, not sculpted like Superman's. You got the rivet shooter on his wrist right here that shot, well, it basically shot gigantic railroad spikes. You've got the fuel containers here that the hoses come down his legs into his boots, his rocket thrusters, the shoulder pauldrons, the muscular look for this figure. This is what he looked like in the comic books back in the day. Kenner, the sculptors at Kenner, got this pretty much perfect. And John Henry's face sculpt is also no exception. It too looks pretty much perfect to the comic books that he jumped out of the pages of. Now some of you younger viewers might be wondering why he's in such a pre-posed state, with his elbow articulation kind of being off to the side like that, and his rivet arm being stuck in that position. That's because, much like the Kenner superpowers, you would squeeze his legs together, and then he'd pound you with the hammer. Boom, boom, boom. Overall, this is an excellent attempt, in my opinion, on Kenner's part to bring John Henry Irons' Steel to life in action figure form.
When the world needs saving, the world turns to Superman and his super team.
Superman's not just a superhero, he's the superhero. Superboy and Steel are the super team. This is Steel. He's got an armor suit, and check out that hammer. Pow! Superboy rides in on his motorcycle and blasts him. Bam! Pow! Conduit is a supervillain. He's got these power cables that go Superman comes in like boom! Bad guys gotta learn. You don't mess with the S!
Superman. Figures and vehicles each sold separately.
And next we have Laser Superman, who comes with your standard issue supercharged laser cannon. Oh yeah, and also the Skybox Laser Superman trading card. They call him Laser Superman, but everyone knows that this is actually Superman in the regeneration suit. Ooh, look at that there spiffy artwork. Here's the back of the card. Pause to read it if you want to before poof, it's gone. Here's a closer look at Superman's laser cannon. We'll just stick it in his hands in a second here to give you a demonstration of exactly what it does. And here's Superman from toe to head in that way cool regeneration suit. It's very simple. It's black. It's silver, and there's not very much details to speak of, but they are, like with the rest of the figures, pretty much comic accurate. Silver tips on the booties, silver wrist bracers, ammunition pouches on his legs, big silver S on his chest, and the rest is all black. This was actually his solar suit, because when he was first reborn, he didn't have his powers back yet. He was alive, which was good, but he needed time to soak up the solar radiation, and that suit helped him regenerate. Laser Superman's face sculpt looks pretty accurate to the comics as well. It's got the mullet, it's got the S curl in the front. There is a bit of variance in the fact that The one on the Flight Superman's got blue retinas while this one's got black retinas. And of course the fact that this one attaches via a neck peg, while we already saw that Power Flight Superman's has a completely different way that the head is attached to the body. Now when we stick the laser cannon in his hand, this hand here is in a weird position because it's meant to be holding on to this piece right there. You just do this. And then there's another piece of ammo that sits in there like that, and you can just like that. That's very descriptive, Brad. You can just like that. Where did I learn how to talk good? If I could make one observation about this figure, one thing that I think kind of sucked about it though, unfortunately, is the fact that it was really difficult to get Superman to stand up because the gun in the front was so heavy, it kept making him want to fall over. You have to lean him way back. And then he's like, oh God, I'm lifting this great big heavy gun. Oh God. Like it really looks like he's having a hard time lifting it, but really that's how far back you had to stand him. You move him forward just a little bit and he falls over. Good job. Next we have Conduit, aka Kenny Braveman. This chap grew up alongside Clark Kent in Smallville during his younger years and was incredibly jealous of Clark. Here's Conduit's little skybox art card. Fabulous artwork as usual. This card's got a crease in it, probably from when I opened it up. And here's the write-up on the back. You can pause it and read it if you want to before it's gone. And then he also came with 2 sets of kryptonite-powered tentacles. And then, of course, we have the figure itself. First off, without the helmet, but as you can see, because we're going toe-to-head, very simple, basic design and color scheme, but sculpted very, very well, with all of that intricate detailing on the chest and the arms and the gloves. Now, the tentacles are actually made out of a soft plastic, so they just clip onto his wrists. Before I show you that, I want to show you how they work. You got this little wheel in the back, and you just turn the wheel and that's what makes his wrist go. So that when you put the tentacles on, they spin and they tickle. They're tickly tentacles. The face sculpt for Conduit looks pretty ticked off. It's a very simple paint scheme, yellow, brown, and then the flesh tone plastic with white teeth. It looks pretty good overall for a 1995 action figure. There are some imperfections on it, but honestly, this is a mass-produced toy made in a factory by a bunch of people who don't get paid enough to actually care about what they're doing, so it's pretty good for what it is. And the helmet just fits on easy enough. You just pop it on like that. Look at me, I have a visor. Now I look kind of like RoboCop. Not at all. A pretty good figure for what it is, although if I'm being completely honest, I was just a little bit resentful when I was 15 that they didn't choose to make Cyborg Superman as the villain for Wave 1 instead of Conduit. And then finally we have that mail-away Eradicator figure made in China, like pretty much all toys are. That's the thing, we all know that, right? Box is over there. He came in a sealed mail-away bag. We're gonna pull that tape off and drop him out. Now before we get into having a closer look at the figure, here's a little peek at Toyfare magazine from 1998, issue number 17, the same issue that had the advertisement for the Eradicator mail-away figure. It was a pretty cool advertisement that took up 2 pages and also had the little mail-away piece right in the middle of it. I really got to get my hands on that from eBay because that's a little piece of Superman history if you ask me. Now here's a look at the figure itself. It's such a cool looking figure and it's so well done for just what it is that I don't understand why they didn't make this Eradicator figure part of Wave 2. Instead, opting to make all kinds of silly, ridiculous Superman variants. Now, I do like the color scheme for this guy with like a metallic blue and the black there, the orange hands being made out of like a translucent plastic that the light is supposed to be able to shine through like that. And there's even a feature when you take off his cape. Let's see if I can get the phone to shine through it just right. Oh, look at that. See, you can see it. It shines through his body there. And it's supposed to be like a light up emblem on his chest. And actually, he didn't fly around with the S on his chest after returning from saving Superman's life. The cape fits on his back just the same as all the rest. Little holes, little pegs, just like that. And overall, I think it's a very cool figure. And again, really, this should have been in Wave 2 of the Superman Man of Steel collection. Instead, we got figures like this. And that. And that. Don't worry, I'll be making a video of these figures soon enough. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna make fun of them. Now, even though we didn't get Cyborg Superman, it is nice to know that we got the 3 good guys. Superboy, the Eradicator, and Steel. Hey, and let's not forget that I was there too. Yeah, I know, Soups, you was there too. As for size comparisons, I'm only going to do one for each. Superman standing next to a customized DC Direct, the Eradicator next to a customized DC Universe Classics, Superboy also with his DC Universe Classics counterpart, and finally Steel with the DC Superheroes version. And that's that. We've finally made our way through everything. The packaging, the figures, a little bit of a history lesson, comparisons, and the whole shebang. You'll notice that I didn't cover the articulation in this video. It's because, well, they've only got 5 points of articulation, so it's kind of a moot point. What you see is what you get. As for my love for the Kenner Superman Man of Steel action figure line, I'll probably love this line until my dying breath. Why? Well, for one, the death and return of Superman storyline was such a big part of my childhood that how can I not love these figures? They were the first representations of the characters as depicted in the comics. Number two, these action figures harken back to a time of action figure simplicity when the toys only had 5 to 9 points of articulation and the kids were just fine with that and had tons of fun playing with them anyway. These action figures had one purpose and one purpose only. And that's fun. Children were meant to play with these guys and have their imaginations run wild as they came up with all kinds of imaginative and adventurous super scenarios. Will Superman meet his end at Conduit's kryptonite tentacles? Or will he, with the help of his friends, Superboy, the Eradicator, and Steel, be victorious against the treacherous villainy of the Conduit? You decide. In a perfect world, I kind of think that this action figure line would have been better had Wave 1 consisted of Superman, Cyborg Superman, Lex Luthor, and Superboy, with Wave 2 consisting of the Eradicator, Steel, Conduit, and Mongol. And to this day, I feel like it's a low-down dirty shame that Kenner never did produce a Cyborg Superman action figure to go with this series. It just doesn't make any sense to me why he was never made. And with those final remarks, I think we're done. So thank you so much everyone for tuning in and watching today's upload. I really appreciate the fact that you did so. If you liked the video, please take the time to leave a like on it. Leave any comments you have down in the comments section below. If you want to see more of my face and hands show up in your inbox, then I invite you today to become a super friend and join the DC squad by hitting the subscribe button and dinging the notification bell so that you know when I put out new videos. And that's all for now. Have a super day everyone. Take care.